Everyone is rolling. Ready? Hey guys, welcome to a very special edition of Real Simple Cooking School. I'm your teacher, Dawn, and today we're talking all about sugar cookies. In this first part, I'm going to show you one of our favorite do-it-all sugar cookie recipes. So it's one really easy recipe, but it can do a lot of different things. In here, in my stand mixer, I've got 1.5 sticks of unsalted butter. It's at room temp. And I know a lot of recipes call for room temperature butter, and it feels sort of annoying, but it's actually crucial to make sure everything incorporates really evenly. Otherwise, your cookies are going to pop with little spots of butter, and that's no good. 1 cup regular old granulated sugar goes in. So I'm going to turn this on. Let's see how loud it's going to be. Not too bad, but I just want to give this a few minutes to get really light and fluffy. And now for the secret ingredient. This is just a little bit of vegetable oil. The reason we add this, it's going to let the cookies be a little more malleable, a little bit easier to work with. So instead of just being able to make cutout cookies, you'll be able to do a few different things. So nice and slow, I'm just going to drizzle this in so it slowly emulsifies. And you'll see the butter and sugar, it really starts to lighten, it almost starts to look like mayonnaise. That's what you're going for. But when I'm about halfway there, I'm going to stop the machine and scrape down the bowl just to make sure everything's really evenly incorporated. And really make sure you get all the way to the bottom. I always forget that part. If you see on the, here I can even take it off, on the beater, see how some of that butter and sugar is not totally incorporated? We've got like 2 different textures going on. That's what we want to make sure gets whipped all the way in. So I'll scrape this off here too. And then I'll finish adding my oil. This looks awesome. It's thick and luscious. It looks like frosting. Now for the rest of the ingredients. I've got 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. Remember, baking, we generally want to use large eggs. I'm going to pop these in. And whenever you add eggs to batter or dough, you'll notice when you first add them, it kind of looks like it breaks, it gets bits and piecey, but just give it a second and it'll come back together. So both my eggs are in. And then while my machine's going and I'm adding this wet stuff, a little bit of vanilla. This is a whole tablespoon. And with a really simple sugar cookie recipe like this, you can add other flavorings. If you wanted to add spices like ground cinnamon, nutmeg, that would be delicious, or citrus zest. I have 3 cups all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, which might seem a little bit unusual, but cornstarch and all-purpose flour, when mixed together, they kind of act like cake flour. So it's going to keep these cookies really light and tender. We've got a little bit of salt, just a ½ teaspoon, and baking powder for lift, that's 1 teaspoon. We want to give these just a little bit of a whisk, and then it's going to go in here, just to make sure all your dry ingredients are incorporated. Okay, put the mixer on low, a little bit at a time. That also ensures that things are really even and you won't have any clumps. So just a few more turns, make sure all that flour is incorporated. And then with any kind of cookie like this, I always like to give it a couple of kneads on my work surface just to make sure I really did evenly mix everything. This dough, because of that oil, is a little bit stickier than your traditional sugar cookie dough. And then all we have to do is pop it in the fridge for like 2 hours. We just want it to relax and get firm enough to work with easily, because we're going to do a few cool things with it. Okay, so I've got my dough, and I'm going to show you guys how to do 3 different things with this batch. So I'm just going to divide this into 3. Okay, 1/3, 3/3. Okay, 2 of them I'm just going to kind of flatten and wrap up nice and tight in a little bit of plastic wrap. Nothing fancy. If you press it a little bit thinner, just know it's going to be easier to roll on the back end after it rests. And then for the third one, I'm going to show you guys something cool. One of the versions we're going to make is an easy homemade slice and bake. So all you have to do is roll part of the dough into a log, just like this. And again, this is when you'll see if you might need to knead it a little bit more. So just give it a little squish. So get it close, just like that. Put it on my plastic wrap here so you guys can see. And roll it up. And then you can kind of use the plastic to help form it into a nice, perfect cylinder. Okay, I'm gonna pop all 3 of those into the fridge. I'll meet you guys back here in a couple of hours. Okay, we're back. My dough has been in the fridge for a couple of hours, and you'll be able to tell it gets pretty firm pretty fast. But now I'm gonna show you 3 really cool ways to make cookies. So this is my first dough, the one I just made into a disc. Just gonna give it a little air, a little breathing room. And these first 2, they both start as balls. So I'm gonna just have this so I can show you both. And if you were really fussy, you could weigh each of your balls to make sure they were exactly the same size, or you could just cut them, which is a nice reason to kind of square off the edge of your disc. So let's see, let's go, just to show you guys, I'll make like 12 of these. So the first cookie I'm going to make with this Do-It-All sugar cookie dough is a thumbprint. So it starts by just rolling this into balls. Start like this. And for the thumbprints, we'll get it going. We'll make a few. You make it exactly the way you think you would. You just stick your thumb in there. Like with all cookies, give them enough space. You don't want them melting into one another, but just take my thumb and just give it a press. This is also a little easier when the dough is less cold. Colder dough will crack a little bit, but you can just kind of push it back together. Thumb in there, squish it back together if you need to. And then what's fun about the thumbprints is you can fill them with kind of whatever you want. I'm going to use a little apricot preserve. I like it, but you could use raspberry, blackberry, Nutella is really yummy. But it's kind of fun because everyone in the family can pick what they want. And then all you do is fill that thumbprint with a little bit of jam. Yes, you could bake these and fill them after, but when you bake the jam inside, it gets a little bit tacky on top, so you can stack them, makes them much better for gifting. Nice. Okay, thumbprints, ready to go. Now, let me show you this other cool technique. Same thing, starts with your dough in balls. This one might be the easiest. Now, there is sort of a secret to these. You want to sort of get the cookie a little bit warm on the outside, because then I'm just going to toss them in some sanding sugar. And if the dough's a little bit warm, it helps the sugar stick to the dough. This is sanding sugar. You can see it's sort of little teeny tiny cubes of sparkly sugar, but you can use regular granulated sugar too if that's what you have. Okay, we've got the thumbprints, we've got our sugared cookie balls. I'm going to show you one more. And these are our super easy slice and bake. So remember, we put one of that section of dough into a log. And the good thing about this dough also, yes, you can pop it in the fridge for a couple of hours, but you can freeze it for like a couple of months. So I've got some cool red nonpareils, these little like edible candy things. And I'm just gonna roll the whole log in these candy. I'm just gonna brush it with a little water to help it stick. Then when you slice the dough, each cookie will have this gorgeous red rib. And you might find red nonpareils all over your kitchen later, but that's okay. 'Tis the holiday season. Okay, and then just about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick, however you like. Isn't it so cute? So easy. I'd love to make logs of cookie dough like this. Then I'm always ready with a really nice homemade dessert whenever people show up. Okay, I'm gonna pop these in the oven and I will see you back here shortly. Okay guys, one super simple cookie dough recipe, 3 awesome, really easy ways to make them beautiful and festive and holiday ready. I think you guys should try this. But if you want to learn how to decorate these like a pro, stick around for the next episode and we'll show you how. Cheers!